Hi, and hope you are doing well. I'm Jadi from Geeking Jadi, and I want to show you something cool which can be an introduction to really entering programming for LLMs. As you know already, most probably, LLM is large language models, things like GPT and, as better known, chatgpt. Let's talk about what LLM is very quickly. LLMs are large language models. They create a very, very unbelievably huge text, combine of all the text they can find on the internet, on books, on programming forums, everywhere. And then tokenize it, separate it. Word is not a correct word. Tokenize is much more than separating based on space. It separates tokens, but just think like separating parts and then running a very huge neural network on it and finding relation between the words and then creating a model. The whole logic is not something surprising. We had the idea years ago, but recently with the advance of GPUs and the price of Nvidia company, now we can do this huge calculation and create models based on very large texts. Then when we have this model, we can ask it, if we give it the word, for example, word champion soccer, it may throw out Brazil, Germany, UK, whatever it thinks of. England, I mean. And this is kind of what this neural network does when creating this model. This is hugely energy consuming, time consuming, and power consuming, and calculation consuming for sure. And that's the reason that we didn't have this kind of great models on LLMs years ago. Then we had GPT-2, GPT-3, GPT-4. What happens is we are having larger and larger texts calculated into models. But the problem is nowadays everyone wants to work on LLMs. Everyone wants to work on GPT. GPT is the model. They create a wrapper around it and call it ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a wrapper where you can enter your text, sends it to the GPT and returns back the results here. When you write something new, combines all of this to the GPT and returns back, keeps the session and this kind of stuff. So this is a wrapper on GPT. GPT is the model. LLM, large language model, is the idea. GPT is the model. ChatGPT, whatever, is the program. And you have different models. GPT is one of them, which comes in relation with openai. But entry level is kind of difficult because you need to have an API from openai. You have to have an API key, call it, be online. This is so large. Learning it is first difficult, sometimes expensive, and sometimes you need to be online all the time. So we have some cool idea. Instead of large language models, there is something which is called small language model. Instead of having unbelievably large text and train very huge model, we can have a much smaller text. Just imagine you want a system to spit out fun stories. It's enough to give it 10,000 short stories, create a model, and then give it some keywords and it will spit out a story for you from this smaller model. This is more fun. Or imagine you want to have a general assistant. It's enough to give it all the Wikipedia, give it all the, for example, recent news in 10 years, and give it the Stack Overflow programming questions and answers, and create a model based on these three. Still consider the small language model because you are not pushing lots and whatever text into it, like GPT-4, for example. So here you can have a small language model as a general assistant. There are different such models. These are small language models, very good for entry level. You can run them locally, work with them, and they are same as openai API. So you can just talk with them, write your programs, do whatever you want, and then connect it to GPT if you want. This is a very nice entry point for learning LLMs. One such sample is Llama 3.1, Phi 3, and others. I have worked with Phi 3. I don't know why I started with that one, and it was cool. But again, if you want to work with Phi 3, the problem is you have to download the model, run it, write a program to communicate with the model and everything. That's difficult. So there are different projects. One of such projects is Olama. Llama was one of these models. So you can go to the Olama website. You can see it even doesn't have much. Blog, Discord, and GitHub. Models and sign in and download. You can go to the download. You can download Olama for your operating system and then run it, install it, whatever. I will show you. What this does is Olama, when you run Olama as a GUI program or as a command line interface, you can directly say, for example, run blah blah model, run Phi 3 mini. If this is the first time, it will go and download this model, then we'll run it and we'll give you a prompt so you can write and interact with this model. Or you can run it and then programmatically, for example, with Python, you can connect to Olama as you can connect to GPT if you purchase an API key and work with it. So this is a very good entry point. Here, I've downloaded Olama already. So on my command line, I can say Olama, for example, PS, shows processes. I don't have any running Olama process. So I can say Olama run Phi 3 mini. I want to run this model. If this is the first time you are issuing such a command, Olama will go and fetch this model from the internet. It's about, I believe, 2.2 gigabyte model. Still considered small language model. Obviously, you cannot run GPT on this computer or download it. Now I have it running. Now Olama is running this model. Normally, it gives you an interface to the model. So you can say hello. Say hello. Practically, I'm talking. Olama sends this to this model, shows you the answer. Hello, how can I assist you? I'm not sure. How can you assist me? This will go in the same session to the model. You will see the answer. As an advanced language model, I am here to help answer questions. I can do social debates, political development, current events, linguistic queries, language learning support, and everything. I want to know how many players are in a rugby team, for example. In rugby union says it should be 15 players, and you can ask about the rules in rugby and everything. So some people stop here. This is cool. You have only 2.2. Why the opacity decreased? Let me solve this. Okay, back. What I was telling you. Some people just run this on their computer. You have 2.2 gigabytes of model and you have a program. And even if you are online, you can chat with it, get instructions, search, get data, whatever, on many things. Even you can connect this to your programming software and see programming solutions. Even I can say, for example, how can I generate a random number between 200 and 1000 in Python? Tell you to generate a random integer between blah blah, you can do this. Import random, lower round is 200, 100, and random number is this one, and print generated. So offline, you can do this. This is fun enough. But me and you, we want to start programming, become an LLM engineer, or at least knowledgeable person. So this is the general interface with a small model. You can do some checks here. If you go with like this, now I'm talking with Olama and not the model because of the slash. So you can set something, create a variable, show some information. For example, I can say show info. It says you are running Phi 3, 3.8 billion parameters is in this model and everything. You can load a model, you can save it, you can clear or say bye. I said bye. But now Olama PS, now the model is running. So Olama is running this model. It's listening on specific port. I cannot remember, or something. We will check. So you can speak with the model in this port, same as you speak with openai. So if you install openai or you make queries, there is a very good starter book which is called V3 Cookbook. V3 comes from Microsoft, so not always blame Microsoft. They do nice things. This is free. If you go to the GitHub, Microsoft V3 Cookbook, it's a cookbook for V3. Remember, this is for model V3. This is not for Olama. So you can do different things, understand how V3 works, or on quick start, see how you can run on Azure, on Hugging Face, or on V3 on Olama. I went to Olama. It says you can do blah blah. Not loaded correctly. Let's corrode it once more. For running, you can say Olama run V3. I did V3 mini to make it smaller. You can do Olama serve. Now it is serving because I run it once and exited. You can start in Linux and Mac. But you can, for example, call chat using curl. You may know curl sends one request to an address and returns back the data. I'm sending a curl, so I'm curling, sending request to this address. This is my computer. Yes, 11.11.434. I'm calling the API chat. I'm chatting with Olama. I'm sending this data. I'm saying, okay, my model, I'm going to use this model. So you're talking with Olama, telling it to call this model and send these messages. Stream is false. So the Olama will wait for answer to finish and spit out the answer completely. Otherwise, you will get word by word or letter by letter if your stream is not false. So if your stream is true. And this is the message I'm working with. Here you start to understand how LLMs work and how as an engineer or programmer you can work with LLM. It says, I'm sending two messages. One, the role is system. You are a Python developer. In the other message, the role is user. Help me generate a bubble algorithm. So you're talking with Olama with two different messages. One, role is system. One, role is user. When you say role is system, you are telling the model do what. When the role is user, you are saying what user is saying. Because you may have a wrapper and you may call your model. So here you say, system, think that you are an assistant. System, think you are a program. You are a Python developer system. Now, user says, help me generate a bubble algorithm. If we run this, we will get back the answer. No, because it says model V3 not found. Clear. We have V3 mini as visible in Olama PS. I have model V3 mini. So I have to call V3 mini. If you want to start learning how LLMs work, how you can be a programmer for large language models, maybe it's a good idea to create another video and show you how to train this, although we have to train very small one with our computer. But here you can do a search. You can go here and say, for example, openai roles. It's a forum. You can check the official documents. Let's search here, openai platform documents. And here I can say role. Message roles. It says messages can have different roles. System role, user role, or assistant role. System message. The system message is optional and can be used to set the behavior of the assistant. Here we told it, you are a Python developer. In many cases, we said, you are a helpful assistant. User message provides requests or comments for the assistant to respond to. And then assistant responds to us. So here I told it I have two messages. The role system says you are a Python developer. User says generate a bubble algorithm. This is the output of the Olama. It says the model is this one, created at this time. The message is role assistant is answering back. This is the content. Certainly, to create an implementation of the bubble sort algorithm in Python, find below sample blah 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 blah, and it shows you how a bubble sort works. Fun fact, if you run it again, it may give you another answer. There are some randomness intentionally. This is how you can curl the request. On the other hand, you can write programs. If you go back to the Phi3 cookbook, you will see some samples. And you can work with different models. For example, this says another curl. This is not a chat. This is a generate. And this talks like with a prompt. If you want to play with your prompt engineering freely, you can do it here. It says system says this. And user says this. Now I want the assistant. There is no end. So the model will complete this for you. Or you can write with a programming language. For example, Python. It says import openai. Obviously, you have to have pip installed openai. Pip install openai. I have it. So I can, if you have an issue, just comment. I will try to create another video. It might be complicated because modern system, you have to create an environment and work in that one. But for example, when I enter IPython, I can say import openai. Now I have the openai library. I can create a client. And then I can get a response. Again, very clear. I'm starting a library. Then I say my client equals from this library. I need the openai. You can go and read about this library, how it works. But this is my base URL. So this library connects to here, which is my own machine, with this API key. This is cool thing because you can start programming without having an API key, without having internet, anything. You can just practice your programming. When your program is ready and it's good, you can connect it to whatever language model you want. We were practicing on SLM. It was very fast, easy. It was free on my own machine. And when I want to go to production, I can obtain an API key from openai, and connect it to, for example, GPT version 4 or whatever. And my program gets wiser or more general. So here I imported the library. I created a connection, called it client, and I said on client, I want to chat. I need some completions on this creation. My model is Phi3. My temperature is 0.7. I just need one answer. These are my messages. This one we've already seen. Here it says role system. Content is you are a helpful assistant. So system thinks it's a helpful assistant. Nice. User says write a haiku about a hungry cat. Cool. I need only one answer back. And this is my temperature. We don't know what the temperature is. Let's search. Again, you can go here to the OpenAI platform and say, I need to know about temperature. It says, oh, cool. Temperature is the temperature. It can be from 0 to 2. And think of it as a kind of entropy. Entropy. If it's higher, the molecules have higher temperature and moving more, like this. It's not too high. If it's closer to 0, less movement, less entropy. So if you set your temperature on 0.1, your answers will be more predictive is not a correct word, but less random. What it says, lower values for temperature result in more consistent outputs, while higher values generate more diverse and creative results. So for example, when you say 0.7, it's good for haikus about cats. If I was asking for a computer programming, I might put it on 0.2. Anyway, let's call it. It's fun. Temperature is good. And I say, give me fun fact about what? Let's go with Linux. Invalid syntax. This is very fun. On Microsoft sites, GitHubs, samples, this comma is missing. It's very fun. Okay, now I don't have phi3 as a model. Again, acceptable. I have phi3 mini. Fun fact about Linux with this temperature. Save it in response. So now I called Olama. Olama consulted the model, returned back the data in the openai format. So my response is this. Chat completion. This is the ID of this chat. So the model will know, or Olama will know, and the model will spit back correct data for a specific stream of chat. So if I talk it about my grandmother and later I said, I'm very sad. So, what happened to your grandmother? And I have some choices. I asked for one choice. And my choices is here. Let's check this. I say response choices 0. Choices 0 is this. Finish reason stop. It's finished. Its index is 0. Log probe none. And it has a message. Let's check its message. This is the message. And the message has a content. So we can even check the message content. If you had a program, you would read something. You would send your thing to that specific connection like this. Set a temperature and return back the data like this. And you would say, the model said, sure. Fun fact about computer, it's running our lesser known tidbit of you. Linux, the open source operating system that forms the foundation of most modern technology today, blah, 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 has its roots tracing back in just one man, Linus Torvalds. Very fun. Okay, anyway, what I wanted to show you was the fact that you don't need to start with the LLMs first because it's difficult, entry barrier is high. You can start with SLM, small language models. Start with something like Olama. Download Olama, run Olama for the first time with something like Olama, run the model you want. I went with phi3 mini, for example. And then after downloading 2.2 gigabytes, you have the model of 3.6 billion or something billion parameters in your own computer. If you run Olama, run blah blah, you will have a prompt. You can talk with your model, or if you can go to the cookbook, see how you can programmably work with it, create a software. And when you want to release or use another model, it's just enough to change this to whatever more capable model you want. Even this is nice. You may creating an assistant on your mobile. So you can just work with this one. You are creating an IDE. You can have this as default. If people want, they can purchase another one and work with that one. So this is a way if you want to be an engineer in the LLM world, the Olama, the phi3, and these kind of stuff can be a very real, practical, easy half an hour starting point. Go for it and create something fun. I will be super happy if you do that. And also I will be happy if you subscribe, tell your friends, whatever people do with their interesting streamers. I'm not a streamer, I'm a YouTuber. I don't know, I'm a programmer. This is not my job. On my daily life, I'm a programmer, but I save some videos which I enjoy. Hope you do so. Have fun.